Reef DVM's coming at you with another barn update. This time it's about the Ramm portable horse stalls. But before I really can show you those, I'd like to at least update you on where we're at with the wiring and stuff for the horse stalls too. Don't really want to bore you with tacking up wire, but I thought I'd at least bring you up to speed. Got some breakers, some wire. Had to make everything up to code so we could pass inspection, so it has to be waterproofed. We have to use UF wire here in our county. So we laid out some wire, brought in a lot of tongue and groove wood, couple great big infrared heaters for the stalls, and really kind of went to work on basically 2 weekends to get this done. The first part is pretty easy, just tacking up the wire and adding in the boxes. A good friend of mine, Luke, helped me with this. I'm not going to bore you with all the footage of video on it, but basically we put outlets in the corners for fans, we put outlets in the middle for lights, we put outlets up there for heaters, and then we bought these about 6 foot long Kalglo infrared heaters. I realize they're not going to heat the barn, but they're going to make it nice in the stalls for the horses. Got some nice chain with some S-hooks that come with it. Well, about 25 feet for each one. Certainly we have tall ceilings, so we had to use quite a bit of chain. But this is actually going to work really nice to hang these. We're going to put them in 2 of our stalls. The other 2 stalls, we don't anticipate always having horses in the winter, so we can always add them if we need to. We've got the outlets and the ability there if needed. The heaters themselves, we did buy them with kind of the rheostat on the end, but we also bought them with the thermometer that goes on the wall that goes between, I think it's about -10 and about 100 degrees, and then that'll actually be what runs these. So we've got the thermostat in line before the outlets, which is a good thing. We also decided to put some lights to kind of backlight the stall. Now the big ceiling lights are LED, and they do shoot down enough. But in each stall area, we really wanted just a little bit more light, so we're going to add some more LEDs. Got some Savanian PAR 38s. They're like 100-watt flutters, just in LED form, so they don't use much electricity, especially if the kids leave them on. We're going to put these right between each stall so that they shine in. One bulb shines into each stall just to give us a little bit more light. This is just kind of an overview of the wiring as it comes down to the box, and then of course, we pulled some favors with the family and got the father-in-law out here, who's a master electrical engineer, and he certainly helped us wire things up because we had quite a few breakers, and of course, in these barns, they've got to be GFI arc faulted to death, so to pass inspection, which, by the way, we did. And then, right about that same time, Veronica over there at Ramm got us the stalls. This is how they showed up. Strapped to 2 very large pallets. A little bit of a challenge getting them off with the skid steer because they are huge. And then a second pallet there with the feeders, the doors, and so forth. Cracked open the packages and laid things out. Really, it was pretty simple. We did make a slight miscalculation with the stall door ends, those little pieces there that stop the door from oversliding. Put them on the top of the stalls instead of the bottom, so we did have to switch that out, but it was actually a very easy switch. Basically, it took about an hour for my good farm family friend here, Chuck, to come over from his farm and help me on my farm to install the panels as far as just getting them up. It's like kind of like playing a fun game of Tetris. You bring the panels in, you drop them in these little square feet things, and everything just kind of stands on its own. And what's really nice is these are portable panels that Ramm makes, but each panel has holes drilled in it, and each foot base has holes drilled in it so that you can actually, completely secure these to the ground. And at a later video, I'll show you that we did do that, which is really nice. Once we got these in place and we got the wood on them, several of them on the corners we just lifted up and punched in with some big concrete anchors into the ground. So they really can be made permanent, which is what we wanted to do. Now, the reason we went with these is obviously these work really great on concrete floors that don't have posts in them. And remember, my floor below it has PEX tubing and is heated. So I didn't want to hit that, with any of our, digging for posts and stuff like that. So this worked fantastic. Once we got this up, it's turned into a real family effort. All the girls are here. The wife is out, and in 2 days, we basically pounded the stalls together. Another neighbor friend, Tom, came over and gave us some hand. doing some of the woodworking and putting up the trolley work. And then again, Luke came back with his son, and we finished hanging the doors. Literally a 2-day project. I basically sat back on the saw and cut 45 and a half, 47 and a half, and 36 and a half inch pieces out of all the 2x6 tongue and groove wood. There is about $2,500 worth of tongue and groove wood in these stalls, but it is really nice looking and it goes in really easy. And when you get to the end, as you can see here, my daughter and I, Tabitha, are just going to screw in an end plate, and that end plate is removable to allow you to put in the final piece and slide them over. It's really kind of a cool rail concept they have. And the one thing I really liked about it is obviously it's cosmetically nice and it's all galvanized dipped, but between the little square posts which hold these stalls together, which is better than the bent pieces of U metal that others use, these nice end caps that come on the feed doors, and just the way the doors and the trolleys hang and run, just is class act. Obviously, our good farrier, Josh, he kind of put us in touch with these, and Dr. Kasky, who does a lot of chiropractic work, she liked these stalls, and we're just really happy these two got us in touch with this group because, working with Veronica, she helped me design this. We've got 3 of these stalls at 12 by 12. We got kind of a special one on the end that's more of a custom fit one that's a little smaller, which will actually probably be used mostly for our chickens. But regardless, it was just a good experience working with them. Even the shipping, the way Ramm ships these from quite a ways away, is they get a private courier, basically a big, dually pickup guy with a big, like 25-foot trailer to haul these right from their place to your place. So these things aren't being taken off at different trucking stations where you're risking, forklifts and jobs moving your stuff around and denting it all up. It's really just a class act how they did it. I know it's not the cheapest. I priced out some stalls through a couple other local vendors out here, and I could have gotten these stalls done for probably under 6,000, and this was obviously over that, but it was well worth it. As you can see here, my wife is helping me install, and with a little persuasion by a rubber mallet, these things go in nice and tight, which is great. They're uniform, and they look good. Just really pleased with the product. My littlest one there, as you can see, even is working. Julia's there sweeping up. There was a lot of sawdust, don't get me wrong, but it was a fun project. The family all chipped in, between all 3 girls and my wife. Like I said, we pounded this out in 2 days as far as the actual stall part. If you count the other 2 days for wiring, one with Luke and then one with Mike, my father-in-law, it went great. 4 days total. Here you can see me, I'm putting in some big legs, and where these legs are going into is the great big pillars of the barn behind it. That really solidified things and really tightened everything up. And again, we put some legs in the floor too, but I don't have video of that to show you right at the moment. As things finished up on each end, we basically then put in the water doors. Granted, you can use these for feed too, but I specifically bought them from Ramm to take the Benton County waters and put them in. I'm using insulated waters with buckets with floats. My barn normally doesn't freeze much, but these will give me that little bit of added protection. So you can see here the last piece kind of goes in tight. Sometimes I gotta kind of persuade it in, but you can see the feed door there that I'm going to use for water is a nice metal door with a nice latch on it. It really cut in very, very easy, folks. Piece of cake to install. I'd say basically in anybody's 2x6 stalls. And then, as you can see there, the water is hung on it at this point. So this is the first stall that's done. All we've got to do is basically hang a track, which is literally like 8 screws, and the door track goes up, and the door is put together the exact same way. Just slide in pieces of 2x6 tongue and groove. Each of the 2 has a grill divider in between that we chose. And then we've got drop-down anti-weave openings for the horses in the front. It just really came together nice, folks. I can't say enough about this project. This was a fun project. There'll be a follow-up to this when we put the floor in the horse stall. I don't know quite when we're going to do that yet, but at some point we are going to put flooring in. But at this point, the stalls are all in. They're working great. We certainly appreciate you watching. Uh, High recommendation there to the Ramm people and working with them. Again, like and subscribe, and we'll keep putting out great videos like this. Thank you, folks.